Pound for pound, inch for inch, Peyton Pritchard might be the most potent offensive weapon in this league. This game was all Celtics all game. 32-point blowout is a statement win for them and eliminates any last vestige of hope Philly had of pulling off the upset. We saw Embiid come back tonight, and he did play well. He was really the only Sixer to get things going. I myself wondered how he would fit back into this Philly team coming off that surgery, and it does seem like he is being lambasted by a lot of people online for potentially coming back too soon and messing with Philly's chemistry. I do ultimately think it didn't matter. Philly was going to lose this game no matter what with how well the Celtics were playing. And I do think Embiid was their best player in spite of not having his most efficient game and still looking a bit off, as he obviously would coming back from surgery. When the C's shoot it like this, they are going to be nearly impossible to beat, and although 24 threes made isn't a sustainable mark in the postseason, even if they can make between 15 to 20 a game, it really opens up Boston's whole offensive arsenal and frees up driving lanes for Brown, Tatum, and Pritchard. Not to mention keeping bodies out of the paint, which allows for lobs to Kata or post-ups with Vooch. When those threes are falling, everything really does open up offensively for Boston, and they can really just take advantage of all the talent that they have up and down the roster. Another big theme from the game tonight we saw was Boston with their unreal activity on the offensive glass. 14-0 boards is a phenomenal performance to a team that had rebounding struggles to open up the season, and that was among many things not expected to have much of a presence on either side of the glass. Mazzulla has done a great job of really instilling that work ethic in a lot of the younger guys on the Celtics, where they're just constantly crashing the boards. We see that with the vets as well. It really is a whole team effort. Lots of guys tonight had offensive boards, not just the bigs like you would see with many teams in the league. So great effort from the Celtics in that way. And again, anything they can do to maximize possessions is ultimately going to be very beneficial. Philly's big problem tonight on the offensive end was the long balls not falling. They only made 9 as a team, and Maxey and George accounted for 7 of those. But even if they had shot it at a much higher clip, they still would have been very hard-pressed to compete with the Celtics team tonight. The Celtics do just have a more complete team, top to bottom. So if it is going to come down to a shootout, the Celtics will still always have the advantage in that matchup, especially with their playoff poise if it does come down to a clutch time game. Tonight, though, it was never going to be a clutch time game. Celtics dominated for all 48 minutes. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Peyton Pritchard off the bench is a weapon of mass destruction. Pound for pound, he's one of the best pure scorers in the NBA and has an unreal level of efficiency in isolation, which isn't something a lot of people likely associate with him, but is absolutely a part of his skill set. He really is able to win in isolation with just about any matchup. He loves going up against centers in ISO. He really is able to take advantage of that matchup. Despite only being 6 feet, 6'1", he is just great in those situations. And then again, as we all know, late shot clock, there's no one better in the league than Peyton Pritchard. Also for the Celtics, we saw Tatum chipping in another clean 30 on efficient shooting and Brown adding 20 more. Those 3 guys themselves were not that far from outscoring the Sixers tonight. 10 different Celtics also made threes, and so if they can continue to spread the wealth like that, it is going to force defenses to pick their poison, with Kata being the only player in Boston's rotation who doesn't spread the floor. That is going to give them something that very few teams in the league have, with nearly every lineup being capable of running a 5-out offense. We saw tonight just how potent that can be. 24 three-pointers made is almost always going to be a recipe for a win, especially in a playoff setting when each possession becomes more and more important. This one is going to be over in 5. I've been saying all along that Philly just doesn't have the weapons to compete in this series, and that was proved correct tonight with Embiid returning and putting up some pretty decent counting stats, but still being a minus 25, and the Sixers as a team losing by 32. Boston is just a nightmare matchup for anyone in the East right now, and it's looking like the rematch with the Knicks is imminent, which should terrify New York, with the Celtics finally getting a chance for revenge after last season's collapse in the conference semis.